Right, so in this titration you're going to find the concentration of this unknown hydrochloric acid. You yesterday made a standard solution of sodium carbonate, which was anhydrous, so you knew the exact concentration. From that, being in our burette, it will neutralise, so react with hydrochloric acid. We're going to collect exactly 20 ml aliquots, so what you collect in a pipette and put into your conical flask is called an aliquot. 20 ml aliquots, and we're going to see when they neutralise. Now normally with this reaction you just say, oh, it's finished when the bubbles stop being formed. But the concentrations are so low you may not even see those bubbles being formed. So instead we're going to use an indicator, methyl orange, which will change colour when the reaction is, the neutralisation is complete. Alright, so we're looking for a colour change. This is probably one of the harder colour changes you'll get this year. The other one that we make you learn is phenolphthalein, which goes from colourless to pink, or pink to colourless, and that one's really easy to see. This one's your hard one, because the two colours, being orange, are red and yellow, which actually can look quite similar. It's quite hard to pick the end point quite well. So how am I going to do it? Well, I've rinsed all the gear appropriately, as we saw before, and now I've drawn up a bit of a table. Normally your first titration that you do just finishes the rinsing process. So it's often wrong, very wrong, but it's also, I tend to overshoot on purpose to give a ballpark figure so that I can do my 4 real ones a lot quicker. So what I'm going to do is show you how we do this. That's how we actually collect the aliquots, do the titration quickly so that hopefully you don't take quite so long to do it. Before I even start though, I'm going to check my volume in my burette and write that in this box here. So I'm looking for the bottom of my meniscus. I need to get level with it, so that's why I've stepped up on the stool, because I'm short. And I can see that we're 2.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2.7 mils.
Does it matter that the thing...
That's actually on an angle.
No, it doesn't, because it's always going to be on the angle. So long as I'm consistent with where I read it from, then it's okay. So don't spend half an hour getting it perfectly level, because it's not needed. You're looking at a difference in volume, so long as you're consistent about where you're measuring it from in the meniscus, it's fine. Okay, my next thing is to collect my aliquots, and I collect at least 2 aliquots at a time because I want to be able to compare colours. So I'm going to put the aliquots plus the indicator. When I get the indicator, I'll give you a couple of hints about that too. So usually we'll use a pipette filler because they're much easier. When you connect them, please put your hands quite close together. I've seen some disasters where people have done this.
And it snapped.
Snap in, and it hurts a lot, trust me. Okay, the hands quite close together, and just a little twist, and that's normally enough to create the suction. What I do is I tend to go too far on purpose, so I'm rolling the wheel at the top. Some people like to just leave the pipette filler on. I'm not a huge fan of that, because I can create quite a good suction with my thumb as well. So I'm going to go too far on purpose. Yep. And the reason is that I'm right-handed, so I like to roll my thumb. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lift this up so that the little line on the pipette is going to be level with my eyes, because that's what I'm aiming for. And I'm going to roll my thumb to release a little bit of the suction. And you'll see shortly that the level of the liquid is going to drop relatively steadily. Once the bottom of the meniscus is there, I put it into my conical flask, and you might see that I hit the wall with a couple of drops. I'm going to have to rinse the walls of this with distilled water to get those drops into the bottom. Okay, so I've just got a few drops on the side, which is a bad thing, but I can fix it.
Wouldn't that change the... Yeah.
No, it does dilute it, but it doesn't change the amount, the number of moles that I'm putting in there. Okay? Which is all that I'm worried about in the conical flask is amount. Okay? You'll see at the end there's quite a bit left in there. Okay? What I do now is I touch that to the side, and there's still a little bit left. That's meant to be there, so that's okay. And as I said before, I'm going to very quickly rinse the walls down to get the last of those drops into the solution. Okay? Then I'm going to put 2 or 3, some say 5 or 6 drops of indicator. Don't do any more than that, because indicators are what we call buffers. They keep the pH the same, so they actually stuff your result up. So if you put too much, you'll actually get the wrong result. One of the biggest mistakes I see with level 2 students is they put a big squid of indicator and they wonder why they got the wrong result. Often up to a mil over and they end up failing the internal. Okay? Now I'm going to do this twice because I want to be able to compare that pink with the colour, the orange that I want it to go when the reaction's finished. Because my eyes don't see the difference between those two very easily. So I'm just going to do this one a little bit quicker for you. Oh, that's a bit bright in my eyes.
Don't zoom.
Thank you.
Doesn't matter how accurate we are, like
Extremely, you have to be incredibly precise here. This is the hardest part of the internal, basically.
could we keep that pump on so it could stay and then we'd put it back in there?
Yes, you can.
How would we release it? Just scroll
It's
it back
got
down?
got a little trigger, or you can scroll down.
Okay.
Why don't you like doing that?
I find that it has less control. I think each click can end up making it too far. So I just find it hard. Yeah.
What are you doing so when you hit it against yourself? the thing?
All I'm doing is just resetting it.
Oh, okay.
Because that was up. All I'm doing is just
Ah.
getting it down.
Got it.
Yeah, good question. Okay, again, the distilled water, so I get the last of the drops. And again, no more than about 5 or 6 drops of this. And I've got my 2 pink solutions. Right. Now, I'm going to do my first titration. My first one is always rough. I have no idea what the titration titer value is going to be. I'm just going to watch this. I'm right-handed, so I need to have good control of this. So I hold this in my right hand so that I'm always swirling it. And I put my left hand around the tap and just turn it on. When I start seeing a little bit of a colour change, I'll slow down. There's nothing yet. If you're unsure about your colours, put the other one next to it where you won't bump it so you can see if it is actually changing colour. And I know I'm going to overshoot with this one. That's why I've written on the board behind me initial. Okay,
Yeah.
we can still see it's pink though, can't we?
It's kind of got like an orangey
Yeah, it's got
tinge
an
to it.
Okay, so I'm going to slow down just a little bit. It's gone sort of a peachy
Yeah,
colour,
peach colour.
and I reckon that's a different colour now, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've overshot, and I know that I will. The first one I always throw out. So I get my eye level, and 20.12, if I'm consistent with before, because it's on a slight angle, 20.3. So that means my titer is 13 minus 7 is 6, 19 minus 2 is 17. So 17.6 mils for that titer. Now I check, do I have more than 17.6 mils left? Yes, I do. So I don't need to fill it up anymore. I'm going to just do my next titration. So I'm going to go straight into it. 20.3 is going to go there. Have a 50 ml pipettes, so I've got another nearly 30 mils to play with. Now I'm going to go to about that plus 15, then I'm going to really slow down. So 20 plus 15 is 35. So I'm just going to look at this. When I get to 35, I'm going to slow down because I know it's not going to change any earlier than that. I didn't overshoot by a lot, probably only by a mil. So I'm going to look at the 35, and that's just all I'm going to look at. Look at those eyes. The other thing that I'm doing is just checking to see if any drips get on the conical flask, because if they do, I have to wash it. So I'm actually going to do that on purpose. And now that I've done that, I have to stop. Okay, you'll see there's a drop on the burette. I'm going to make sure I don't lose that. And because I've got droplets of the standard solution on here, I'm just going to use water to rinse it off. And I'm near my 35, so I'm going to slow down shortly. Okay, so now I know that it's going to change soon, so I'm going to go really, really slowly. So now I turn the tap so it's just doing a drop basically at a time, and I'm stirring. Now I'm going to put this, I'd normally have a pink one to go near it so I could compare it, but I'm going to try and go to this colour. Oh, that's actually really good with the light. No, that's good. Okay, so it's still quite pink. got down to about 37 now, so we'd expect it to change really soon. I may have got lucky on the first one. Okay, still pink. So now I'm going to go basically a drop, stir it, and go, nope, still pink. So this is the slow bit.
Are you trying to get to the exact colour?
No, I'm trying to not be pink anymore. Okay, so I'll take that away so there's no colour contamination, as it were, from that one. But I reckon that's getting close. There's a little, still pink, but
What do you do if you're colourblind?
Yeah.
it makes it a bit harder if you're colourblind.
Yep.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Matt, are you able to tell the difference?
Not between those two.
No, these ones are too similar. You won't have this indicator in your internal. It's too hard.
Will it be the other one, the pink to the...
Yeah, there's two other indicators you have to know about, and this is, I reckon it is. So I'm going drop by
Yeah.
drop. Okay, so that's gone peach now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So,
Oh, yeah.
alright, so it's not as peach as that one, but it's not pink like it was before. Alright, if I'm unsure, one drop won't make a difference between merit and excellence. Okay, it'll still keep you at excellence level. So if I'm unsure, I'll just go one more drop just to be sure.
That's a mirror.
Okay, and it's definitely not pink anymore, so I'm happy. So I go 37 again to be consistent. That's 37.8, and actually you'll see that my first one's probably quite accurate then. I'm still not going to count this one though. Okay.
Oh.
I'm still not going to count it because I know I overshot. Alright?
Bye.
So what I'm going to do now that I've got 17.5 is in my next one when I top it up, I'll put in 16 mils and then go slowly. And if I get another 17.5, for that one I'll put in 17 mils and then go really slowly. So I'm taking more and more risks as it were as I get further along because I'm more and more confident that I've got the right answer. This way I've seen too many students go drop by drop from the very start. And you'll never get three what we call concordant results in the time allowed to do that. Now concordant means that you've got three results, not including your first one. Three of those four results are plus or minus 0.1 mils of the mean of them. So if you averaged them, those three results are within 0.1 mils of that average. So if I got 17.5, 17.4, 17.3, 17.4, if I average those, this one actually needs to be taken out because it's a little bit too high. Okay. So I'd take that one out and I'd just average those three and then I'd be right.
How many periods do we have?
One to get your titration done. Alright, it is actually plenty because you get your own gear and once you know the volume roughly, you just fire it through to nearly that volume and then go slowly.
So you now need to like redo the conical.
Correct. I would have had a third one in reality. And then I'd set up another
like
three.
5 conical flasks.
You get 3, okay, which is plenty.
Are they all rinsed out?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
So you
still
only have
should
to
rinse them with distilled
so you only have to
water,
rinse them out twice, or
Yeah.
I don't really understand with the colour change. Like, I thought it changed ages, like before you did. Is it when it?
No, if you're a bit close, you would have seen it was still pink. Yeah, it was just a pale pink because the concentration was diluted, so there wasn't, the pink wasn't so strong. Now it's actually a peach colour. This is a very hard one to see.
So ideally we should keep the concentration the same for a more definite change.
Yeah.
So is it when it starts changing?
When you see a permanent change in colour. So not a dilution of the colour, a change. So this went from pink to peach. I'm hoping the video will show that. If it doesn't, please trust us, it did go from pink to peach. If I went much further, it should go yellow. Okay? So you can see the yellow there, can't you? And that wasn't much further. Okay? But that's too far.
no, that is yellow. It changed really quick.
So, and that was only another half a mil, I think, they put in there, and it totally changed.
Changed from peach to
Half
yellow.
a mil though, that would have taken me from excellence to achieved.
What happens
So,
if you cut
but that was half a mil, that's a lot. Half a mil is a lot.
Yeah.
Right, stop the video there.